Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. This is Millennial Man Motions Entertainment. LLC. It is May of 2023, and I am back here now with my good friend and co-host Avi. And in this installment, we're continuing the Mission Impossible series. We talked about Mission Impossible 1 last week. Now we're up to Mission Impossible 2 from 2000. Welcome back, Avi. It's great to have you on. What are your initial opening thoughts when it comes out to Mission Impossible 2?
That movie is very too cliche about this very more action style than the other Mission Impossible so not something they do something like more it's directed by John Woo, who does all the action film like Gun Fu, mostly not anything like any film series about the doing Mission Impossible so too brighter about the scenery about and it's very slow motion about they had lots of slow motion parts about it, cliche. It's directed by John Woo, who directed all the Gun Fu movies from the 80s, from Hong Kong. Like the Better Tomorrow, Hard Boiled, and the Killer, but he's missed actually Hollywood. He directed Face Off.
Yeah, he did Face Off back in 1997. And we'll get to the slow motion part in a little bit, but I want to state what you said before.
Face Off is before Mission Impossible,
right?
Because it's also about to go undercover for switching faces, wearing a mask.
Yeah, and there was some talk online within the past couple of years that they're possibly thinking about doing a Face Off too, which I don't know whether or not. I don't
believe about John Travolta to be back again even Nicolas Cage. I thought there could be a spin-off about the John Travolta become a mentor about to tell about this AT situation, what they're facing for their technology.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not a Face Off 2 is a good idea or not, or a spin-off for that matter. But the Face Off came out in 1997.
I thought the idea for Face Off 2. I thought the idea what they could have a different actor about who was a non-action star. One is George Clooney Face Off against Mel Gibson.
Say that last part again.
I thought it should have Mel Gibson Face Off against George Clooney with different voice acting. Yeah.
You're saying Mel Gibson should go against George Clooney?
Yeah, because they have a similar voice. They had the similar voice talent.
That's an interesting observation.
The vocal accent.
That's an interesting observation about all that. Okay. Well, not to get too far off track with Face Off, which, yes, he directed 3 years before in 97. I agree with what you said, that, the first movie, Mission Impossible, back in 96...
It's a tense movie. The first movie is very super tense, no colorful background about cinematography stuff about something about even it's Be on the Run like Hitchcockian. But this movie is very so much action film.
Right. So basically, when it comes to action, the first movie really didn't have any really action, except for maybe one or two scenes. It was known, like you said, known for more of the the suspense type thing.
Suspense situation. Right. Something that goes back and forth about something not something very fast paced.
Right. It wasn't not too fast paced. It was kind of slow. The first one a lot. The first one is not for everybody, and they might like the sequels more. So you mentioned the slow motion. So the slow motion aspect. That was the way that John Woo likes to do action. You could tell not only was there slow motion, but also in his movies they had the doves, the birds going.
Yeah, the birds flying and the dancing scene and the tango.
Yeah, I like the tango scene in Spain. I liked it a lot because I like Latin dancing and Latin music and salsa bachata. So that little Latin scene they had in Spain I really liked, and also how it was going slow motion with that. Then that's when we first discover that girl, the woman from the HBO show. What's her name?
Sadie Newton.
Yeah, Sandy Newton. We see that she's a stealer, a jeweler. She steals things. She's in the Spanish place.
A thief about
As a thief,
guy
yeah.
being recruited.
Right.
It's
right.
like it's borrowed that plot from also the classic Hitchcock film called the movie, the one about the Notorious with Ingrid Bergman and Cary Grant.
Yes.
It's also about being involved in joining for a spy for Americans. Go into the manor to steal something who's on the run.
Yes, it definitely has the Hitchcockian and like old time feel to it, which is probably what Tom Cruise liked to go for that kind of stuff with it all. Yeah, that's all very true. So we got. So let's talk a little bit more about Thandie Newton. What did you think of Thandie Newton in this movie?
Well, not quite of her action stuff about like. But she wasn't important about for anything. It doesn't have like a big chemistry between the Tom.
Yeah, I don't think there was very good chemistry between them at all. No good chemistry. But one scene I did like with hers is, it was towards the middle to the end when they're in.
She has to sacrifice herself about she has to inject the virus.
Yes,
That way she needs to prevent it. Doesn't want it to spread the world.
Yeah, you finished my thought before I could say it. Exactly. That part where she puts it in herself like that to try to make it, it's putting it in herself to get it in her system. What you just described right there, you said the words right out of my mouth. I thought that was my favorite scene of hers because it was kind of unexpected that she decided to do that. And then Tom Cruise is like to her, "I'm not gonna lose you." And then he jumps out the window, goes back for her later.
Alright. Do you know that before Thandie Newton has been casted, it was originally supposed to be casted with as a soon-to-be ex-wife Nicole Kidman. About that, she's been co-star with that, but even though they're not going to have a divorce.
Well, I'm glad she wasn't in this movie because he already worked with her with two other movies.
Three movies.
Three movies actually. What were the three again?
One is Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
Second is Far and Away, and Stanley Kubrick, Eyes Wide Shut.
Right. So those are the three '90s movies. The Thunder. What was it called? Something.
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder. Then what was that second one?
Far and Away.
Far and Away, and then the third being the
Kubrick movie.
Right, the immigration, and then the third being the Kubrick movie. Right, so they had already worked together in three movies before this, but they were probably almost divorced by now. But yeah, I mean, that one last thing, like you said, like with Thandie Newton, is they didn't really have really nice chemistry. The chemistry was well off. One thing I want to say about the main baddie, which I thought was interesting trivia.
Bruce Scott about.
Yeah.
It's like it could be one of the Mission Impossible movies that involves about who was once with the IMF, Impossible Mission Force about gone bad.
Yeah, he's going bad. He's bad on the bad side from that, but used to be on there. Yes, but what I wanted to say was, that's true though. What I wanted to say was, what interesting trivia about with him was he was actually first in line to be Wolverine for the X-Men movies. But the time was going overtime.
The first X-Men.
Yeah, for the first.
Douglas Scott. Do you know he plays a good guy well, like the one with Drew Barrymore, the own version of Cinderella movie, Ever After.
Who did he play in that?
A prince.
Oh, I didn't even know. I don't know him from that. I just know him from this movie and that he was in one of the Taken movies.
Oh, the Taken. That one with Liam Neeson, and also with Julianne Moore in the movie Forgotten.
Oh, tell us quick a little bit about what Forgotten was about.
Forgotten is about Julianne Moore plays the one about she was grieved when she lost her son to the missing plane crash, but when she finds something, she keeps her photos about to remember. But all of a sudden, every people around her says that everyone asks her to remember her son, but they said no about the whole.
What part did he play in that?
He plays one that he lost one of his children from the same plane with Julianne Moore. But there's a conspiracy about this. Like no one understands who the child is about until when they find out why people are erasing memories about that.
What was his character? Who was he supposed to do?
Plays the father who works with that.
Oh, okay,
to find out about the truth about what
father and the truth. Got it.
Their
okay.
Children about that no one's ever remembered about.
Right. Got it. Now, like we said, outside of Tom Cruise himself, the only other actor to appear in all six or all the movies is Ving Rhames. Vic Rames. Now we got to see a little bit more of Vic Rames here after the first movie, but that but the other guy, the other white guy, he was that on their team. He was
Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins was in that movie uncreditedly.
Oh, I wasn't gonna get to Anthony Hopkins yet. We're gonna go, but since you mentioned him, we're gonna talk about him next. But that other guy on the team, that other white guy who was either Australian or British or something, he was kind of unmemorable. Whoever he was, he kind of helped. He was working with Vic Rames a little bit in a few scenes, but that other white guy who was either Australian or British was kind of not that memorable on the team for them to be a part of. Top them all, but yeah, you wanted to mention the director, yes. Anthony Hopkins plays the director in a few scenes.
It's also the first time in the only film series he mentioned the title of the movie about the series. So about Mission Impossible. That instead of Possible Mission as what the team are, IMF, but he said Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay. Wait, what were you saying about the title?
Because it's the first time in any film series or even based on TV shows, one character mentioned the title of the series called Mission Impossible.
Oh, okay, so it somehow says the title there. Well, what I wanted to say about Anthony Hopkins is that I like that little line of dialogue between him and Tom Cruise where he says, this isn't mission difficult. This isn't mission difficult. This is mission impossible. Difficult should be a walk.
That's what he says.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nice. It's just like the screenwriter who wrote the screenplay of this movie, Ronald D. Moore, who later becomes the creator of the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. He wrote the screenplay of the Star Trek film series about one in Star Trek First Contact in 1986 about one character played by James Cromwell, that you're all astronaut on some kind of Star Trek. This is only film series or a TV series mention the title of the series. Oh, it mentions the title. Okay, yeah, I like the title of the series. All right, well, the only movie of it. Okay, that's interesting actually. So I like what he says to Tom Cruise. This isn't mission difficult. This is mission impossible. Difficult should be a walk in the park for you. That was a good line. And also what he said about women in bed. I also like how the main baddie. Dougray Scott says about the whole women monkey branching, because a lot of women do monkey branch, which I learned about that from him saying that in that movie. So that's memorable to me. But the other thing I wanted to say about all this was, back to John Woo for a sec, the director. John Woo is the only director of all the Mission Impossible movies that Tom Cruise didn't want to rehire again for a second movie. He's the only director of all of them who wasn't asked back to do another movie. But Maybe it's like a creative difference.
Yeah, creative differences, yeah.
Results.
Yeah.
Even though that Mission Impossible becomes the highest grossing movie about the big box office hits.
Yes, box office wise, it did really well back in 2000 when it came out. I actually saw Mission Impossible 2 with my dad. My dad took me to see it after seeing with him 1999's The World Is Not Enough. In 2000, I saw Mission Impossible 2 with him. And the whole plot, real quick, the storyline for everybody. This whole biological virus thing in 2000, it almost foreshadowed 20 years later the whole C-19.
The COVID about the. Well, just recently I read the newspaper on Wall Street Journal. It turns out the World Health Organization are about to end this COVID emergency.
It was hopefully closed off emergency, yeah.
Because even though COVID-19 still be around with us, but it becomes a less mortality. It slowed things down about the. It looks like we're facing back to where we were.
Hopefully that's the case. Everybody, whoever is the big brother watching us about all this, please do not demonetize us for talking about the C-19 beer bug by name as Avi just did. Hopefully you guys won't demonetize us for that. But anyway, Mission Impossible 2. Was there anything about Mission Impossible 2 that you didn't like or you thought could have been better?
Even though I did, hopefully about the. Sometimes about hopefully I did like sometimes like even though maybe it's something about too much gunplay.
Yeah, it had a lot of gunplay, but a lot of gunplay in it. I like how in some of the other movies they don't really Ethan Hunt.
Guns,
don't really use guns.
Mostly it's running.
Right.
But even besides, they have a good chase sequence.
There was a good chase sequence in one part. I think. Which chase sequence of the movie are you talking about specifically?
Each movies.
No, in the second one here. Which part of the movie?
Motorcycle chase.
The which one? Say it again.
The motorcycle.
Oh, the motorcycle. So that must be towards the end. Towards the end of it, then. Yeah. Speaking
Also,
of
I like about this, the Tom Cruise does is everything his own stunt, like Jackie Chan does.
right.
But I think what he does is, hopefully he does is mountain climbing.
Right in the beginning with the mountain climbing in the beginning, I can't believe he didn't get hurt from that. It looks so dangerous.
Without no harness, without no
Yeah,
safety
without the harness. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, without the harness, how he's able to do that? Very dangerous.
He's not Spider-Man or something because
No.
to hold on to the rock.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the thing with the rock. Let's see. So like I mentioned, I like the stuff that was in Spain. I like the Spain stuff, but then the majority of the movie takes place in Australia. Because I used to train like to be in martial arts. I like when they face off again. When the main guy Douglas Scott faces off against him towards the end. How Tom
almost the knife almost gets close to Tom Cruise's
yeah,
eyes.
the knife was its own little stunt. Yeah, the knife to the eye. But I also like with that in that same scene where Tom Cruise does a 360 back kick to kick him in to kick him like that.
This movie sounds like very to Matrix style. You know, like.
Well, it did come out a year after the Matrix, possibly. Yeah.
Because even it has slow motion parts and a good fight choreography.
Yes, yeah, I did like some of the choreography there.
And you know, the story takes place, and the mission takes place in Australia. But
yes.
like even the Matrix movies, filmed entirely in Australia.
Yeah, the first Matrix was also in Australia as well. Yes.
Cause that's sometimes and also like even though I know about cinematographer for Mission Impossible 2, it's the same cinematographer who did the Tom Cruise movie in 1986 the first Top Gun.
What did the guy do for Top Gun?
The cinematographer who did also the works of Tom Cruise again in this movie we're talking about, the Mission Impossible 2.
Okay, so he did that back in the 80s for a choreographer. That's cool. Speaking of which, around there, I like the musician Hans Zimmer. The Hans Zimmer music.
The music is very, very, very rocking music. Very so much rocking, and he has some opera sound.
Yes, I like all of the above what you just said. I like that Hans Zimmer and Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2 in the beginning there, in the beginning of the movie, had that same music that was also used in parts of Rain Man.
Yeah, the eco,
the eco thing, and then
even the movie Rayman introduced when he gets to the car about
right.
It's a car dealer.
I like when it plays it.
Same music.
Yeah, no, what were you saying? It was opera, and what else with the music? Opera, and what else?
Operatic and the rocking music, and all the dun 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 like.
I think part of the Rocky music was I think they had Limp Bizkit as part of the Rocky.
Limp Bizkit part of it.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Also the end credits at Metallica.
Right. Oh, okay. And then towards Metallica towards the end. Yeah. As far as all the movies are concerned, for a lot of people, this one's the weakest. You consider this the weakest of the 6?
Maybe it's a week because I only see it once. But like even as everything saw too much action. You know, like because the producer of the movie, Tom Cruise and Paula Wagner, wanted this movie to have more action because the first one lacked action.
Okay, right, because the first one lacked action. Now, even though Mission Impossible 2 had a lot of action, there were still some parts of the movie that were kind of slow, like in the middle. Like there's some parts when the action wasn't there. Some of the parts seemed a bit slow without the action. But yeah. I saw this with my dad back in 2000, and
they got bored with it, did it?
Yeah, say again.
You got bored with it?
Yeah, there's some slow, boring parts. Yeah, I think it's slow, boring, and for a lot of people, it's the weakest of the first 6 movies. It ranks people's lowest as far as quality-wise. But like I said, the storyline with the whole biological virus type thing, that was I guess, trying to project or show the future of what happened 20 years later, possibly, maybe. Don't demonetize us. Yeah, but it was kind of, they didn't have Tom Cruise and Thandie Newton. They didn't really have chemistry like he did with other women. There was, like you said, too much action when the first one didn't have action. What else about Mission Impossible 2 stood out to you?
Well, even though about sometimes go about anything about how they get the cure about to stop the chimera about the biological weapon. They
called the cure Bilifia or something with a B name. You only actually saw this movie once?
Long time it is, but even though sometimes he was very too over style. Like as like he was like very too much action about like. Sometimes I look confused, but even I hope I might see again about the if I remember. Also, you know, he's also in that movie. Also, as Brendan Gleeson is in it.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He's in this as well.
Some kind of scientist or something.
Yeah, yeah. He has a few scenes with what he does there. I would say I would say if you get a chance, try to rewatch the second one if you only seen it one time.
Alright, I said even I watch the movie clips. Even I watch some time of the clips or something.
Yeah, the clips.
Yeah, like about the way instead of this is in any series, a film series about because there's one about instead of the man on tapes about the listen to tape cassette like in the original TV series. But this one instead of tapes now that Tom Cruise he thought could get an assignment either with the sunglasses.
Oh yeah. In the very beginning when he's done mountain climbing and he gets to the top, it's the sunglasses that Yes, you're right. That's how he does it this time. Yes. As far as clips are concerned, if it saves you time and you just want to see certain clips, then just watch clips that you want to see of it, because the clips of the ones you want to see will save time than not having to see the whole 2-hour movie. Clips might save time to just see the clips of it that you actually want to see, as far as re-seeing the movie is concerned. Yeah, for a lot of people, this was the weakest. I think it's the weakest for me too. For me, the second weakest, I have to say, is well, I don't want to talk too much about it now because this one's just about 2. But for me, the second weakest after this one would be Ghost Protocol, only because outside of the whole building on the outside thing, the things that happened before the building and after the building were kind of like slow and dull and boring. So the only thing really Ghost Protocol had going for it for me was that building scene, but nothing really before or after it. But we'll get more into detail about that when we talk about 4 Ghost Protocol. But yeah, for a lot of people, Mission Impossible 2 is like the least liked of them all. And again, director John Woo is the only director not asked to come back for a second one.
Yeah. And sometimes even sometimes even I hope I know about sometimes it's like I hope I got everything I know about it. Even it's like sometimes we haven't heard anything much about John Woo's anything making more action blockbuster movies.
I haven't heard anything about it recently. No.
So it looks like he might be retired or something, or any people not interested to see any more gun watching a movie with guns, because it's very concerned about what happened. We're facing now too much gun violence.
Definitely way too much gun violence with all the gun problems in the United States for sure. Yeah. And then I said, like I said before with him, the other movie, there's a possibility they're possibly working on a Face-Off 2 or a Face-Off another installment.
It's not a remake or something like that.
I think there's too many remakes. Like I think people should they should try to do less remakes of things. I don't care for remakes.
Right, or reboots.
Or reboots. My concern with Tom Cruise being done after Mission Impossible 8, Dead Reckoning Part 2, I hope if he's really done after that, I can't see them continuing the series without him, because he is what produces and stars in these movies that make them so unique, and all the ways he sees Ethan Hunt in these. I really don't. It's just like with Harrison Ford, with him having Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. He says he's Indiana Jones only and nobody else. Well, only Tom Cruise is Ethan Hunt. I can't see either Indiana Jones or Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt have further installments without these guys being in the lead roles. It just wouldn't work for most of these, I don't think.
Well,
I could see, like I said, I could easily see him be Ethan Hunt into his 90s, but it looks like his whole story arc ends at the end of 8, Dead Reckoning Part 2, so we'll see what happens. But I'm really excited that Dead Reckoning Part 1 is coming out now 2 days early than initially released. It was originally going to come out Friday, July 14th, but now it's coming out Wednesday, July 12th. And I know you were going to wait a week to see it for your birthday on the 19th, but I say go see it on the 12th, just so you won't be spoiled by anything for a week later, because it's easily going to get spoiled if you wait too late to see it, personally, in my opinion. So I am definitely planning to go see it on Wednesday, July 12th, opening day.
Also about a car chase. Not more about car chases. This is about the one about the car chase. Tom Cruise chase with Thandie Newton, and also they chase each other.
It was supposed to be an homage to that first car scene in GoldenEye.
Yeah, even though but this version they actually outlined, but But the Golden Eye is like the one that is by Famke Jensen.
Yeah.
She's the enemy.
Yeah, I like Famke Jensen, and she plays the wife of Liam Neeson in the Taken movies. And Dougray Scott is in one of the Taken movies. So it all kind of almost all interconnects to each other there.
This is the only film in the series which Ethan Hunt doesn't go on the run, goes on a mission.
Oh, that's very true. I wanted to mention that. Thanks for reminding me. Mission Impossible 2 is the only mission where he actually works as on good terms with the IMF team. Every other movie before...
Here's why.
Every other movie...
As of 2018, this is the only Mission Impossible movies where Ethan Hunt is actually working for the IMF and not on the run. Working outside IMF and or disavowed.
Right.
The first one, Ethan is believed to be a mole as disavowed. In Mission Impossible 3, Ethan is eventually on the run from the IMF after he's believed to be an enemy. In Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, the IMF is shut down. In Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, the IMF is disbanded and Ethan is considered a rogue agent. And Mission Impossible Fallout, Ethan and his team are chased by the CIA after the HC assassin Walker turns on them. So CIA disavows the IMF, suspecting them as traitors and believing the IMF is obsolete.
Yes. I thought that was very, very interesting that Mission Impossible 2 is the only movie where he actually works for IMF on the good side and they're on the team way. But Mission Impossible 1 and Mission Impossible 3 through 6, he's disavowed and has to run from who he works for. Thought it was very interesting that 2 is the only one where he works for them in a way they're not trying to go after him, but every other movie before and after, it's a disavowed, hey, watch out or they're going to get me type thing. I thought that was something else with all that. Yeah, good point there, how you described all that, for sure. Thanks for reminding me. I wanted to make sure that was in this. It's the only movie where he works for the IMF and not having to run from them, yes. All right, what else?
Right. The scene in which Ethan dives in the hole in the wall, which he says to Nia, "Just stay alive. I'm not going to lose you." In the biocide of a lab gunfight, mirror a similar scene from The Last of the Mohicans, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, in which Hawkeye tells Cora, a manly son, "Just stay alive. I will find you," and jumps down a waterfall.
Oh, he dropped and then dropped through a waterfall?
Jumps down a waterfall. You ever seen The Last of the Mohicans?
I never saw that, but I'll take your word for it.
1992 movie.
Nice.
It's based on the classic literature it takes place during the French and Indian War.
Nice, that's interesting. So it's a similar scene from that. I like the line of dialogue right there you said. He says, "I'm not what was it before? I'm not going to lose you." What was that first part?
Just stay alive.
Oh, just stay. I love that line when he says, "Just stay alive. I'm not going to lose you." I like some of the dialogue in this movie. Even though a lot of people consider this the weakest, there's a few lines of dialogue that really I thought is rewatchable, re-listenable for me to hear. Yeah, but if you can't see the whole 2-hour movie again, just try to see whichever little clip scenes you wanted to rewatch to get the clips of what you wanted to possibly recatch up on with it. But yeah.
Do you know that Tom Cruise and Thandi Newton, it's not the only first time they worked, they started together. For previously, they worked together in the movie The Interview with the Vampire with Brad Pitt.
She was in that?
Yeah.
What part did she play in that?
She plays some kind of African slave during the like a 18th century where how it all began she becomes a victim of the Tom Cruise vampire.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize she was in that. Cool. Right. No, real quick before I forget, because you were mentioning the Daniel Day-Lewis movie from '92. Was that what else about that movie stood out to you? What was it about exactly?
It's takes place in the French and Indian War about the Native American. He gets the name of the tribe of that.
So what year is that? Is that like 1600s, 1700s? When?
Like 1600s.
Okay.
Yeah,
was that a good movie? Did you like it?
What?
Did you like it? Was that a good movie?
Very good movie.
And you're saying the one part it had something was about going into a waterfall?
What about to stay alive? I will find you. It's like the best scene ever about.
And then there's a waterfall after that line is said.
He jumps into a waterfall. Wow, that's a promise. It's like a romantic story adventure.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Well, to keep this connected to Tom Cruise, the only waterfall thing I like with Tom Cruise is back in 1988's Cocktail when he's a love interest with Elizabeth Shue, and they had that little waterfall scene. That's what I think of. But anyway, yeah, we like talking about her. We talked about her in the Karate Kid podcast, and we probably talked about her in Karate Kid and Back to the Future. Okay.
Back to the Future Part 2.
Part 2 and 3, yeah.
Elizabeth Shue, she stars in Adventures of Babysitting
right.
and also Leaving Las Vegas and Hollow Man.
Right, and Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon.
And Josh Brolin.
And Josh Brolin, right. Yeah. I'm hoping maybe that Josh Brolin can come back for Deadpool 3 since they're having those.
I heard he said Josh Brolin is back again this fall. They're going to release the Dune Part 2. Okay,
for Dune people. Okay, I'm not really into Dune, but if anybody's into Dune, that might be a thing. Okay, all right. So are you?
Oh yeah, during the opening sequence, sure. Tom Cruise, who performed the sequence himself via the rock climbing scene, almost fell to his death, saving himself by grabbing onto the camera. John Woo was extremely nervous about Cruise during the sequence, fearing he would be held responsible if he had fallen. Cruise assured the director it was going to be all right.
Well, which part of the movie was this at? For what part?
The rock climbing.
The rock climbing, yeah. Because I thought the rock climbing was really dangerous, and how he didn't have a harness. I didn't know how he pulled off that scene.
That's what the problem is about that. That's my dad doesn't like is about the surviving. If you want to do a nature wild adventure,
right?
By rock climbing without the harness, that's very too risky. But like you saw, there's a documentary from National Geographic called Free Solo.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
About rock climbing. Also about rock climbing.
Oh, about the rock climbing?
Yosemite Mountain without the harness.
I like at the end of... Oh, without the harness, yeah. I like at the end of Fallout, Mission Impossible 6 Fallout, just to keep it connected to the Mission Impossible 2 rock climbing. I like how he's almost like on top of a rock climbing thing when he goes against Henry Cavill at the end of Fallout. It's almost like that part of 6 Fallout with them fighting on the rock was almost like an kind of homage or thing to 2 a little bit, to kind of make it connected to each other. So are you? I'm gonna probably see it a second time on Discount Tuesday, and then which is the 18th for you. Your birthday's Wednesday, July 19th. Are you?
19th.
Yeah. Are you gonna see that on your birthday or for the first time?
That's why if I can afford it. It depends how much it costs. Ticket costs.
Okay. Depending on cost is a good answer. What about Indiana Jones 5 and the Dial of Destiny? When are you catching that?
Like it released by June. It depends on what I have to find out what the critics are saying and how much what the fan reaction.
You like to go about what critics say. I don't go by critics. I go by YouTube reviewers. But critics are the old way. Okay.
Critics is always special occasion. Even when you go online, like you can look up Metacritic or the fan reaction, what they say about even Rotten Tomato scores about what. I don't like to use any of that stuff. I like to hear YouTubers' opinions, but yeah, the critics. If that's for you, that's fine. It's just not my way of doing cup of tea. But to each their own for all that. Back to Mission Impossible 2. How are we doing on runtime? How long have we been talking for so far? We've been talking since 4:20 or something. Yeah?
Since about 4:20. Let me just see. Okay, 4:20, and it's now 4:50 something. So that's about 30 some minutes. 30 minutes we've been talking about so far with all this. Mission Impossible 2. You've only seen it once. I hope you can remember so much about every scene.
This is for a series trademark. It's at Hunt's meeting with Mission Commander Swanbeck, played by Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
Hunt is offered an espresso or cappuccino. At the preliminary meeting with Jim Phelps in Mission Impossible, Hunt asked if they could get a cappuccino machine.
Oh, so the cappuccino machine was in both movies, or talked about in both movies?
Or the series. It might have to do with a coffee break.
Okay. So two things about a coffee break there, yeah.
And also it has the same thing again about Ethan is suspended by a cable while infiltrating the Biosite labs, just like the first film.
The cable thing was the cable thing was supposed to be a connection to the first movie, yeah, with the cable there in that part, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I like them. I like the martial arts of them fighting at the end. But it's a bit ridiculous. Ridiculous when the two bikes crash into each other like that. But yeah, they were able to find a solution to get the virus outside of her.
Yeah.
And I like they got the virus outside of her towards the end, and I like when towards the end, after all the martial arts, he like makes the sand go up, and the sand lets him grab the gun. But again, like you said, too much gunplay, too many gun shootings in the States too recently.
It's just like before, like Michael Bay. If Michael Bay directed, they do something over the top acting style. Like they have also like more action stuff.
Yeah, Michael Bay has his own way of doing things. Michael Bay direction, yes.
Speed up the action scene, or even has all about more about explosive type.
Right, exactly. Now, one of my other favorite parts towards the end about this movie is when
they switch over the masks.
Yes.
The mask about one henchman about they thought they killed him, but they recognize that one of the hands is actually bandaged. He cut off his finger or something.
Right. So it's funny how when I say what I like and I'm about to say it, you just say the rest without me having to say anything. It's like you can read my thoughts because you just finished the rest of that without me saying it. Which is it's like that's good. That's good that you know exactly what I'm talking about with all these thoughts that you say the rest of it like that. Interesting.
Because I borrowed that from from the movie Darkman.
Right.
About that, switch to mask when he's actually been taped, his mouth shut, to tape his he cannot speak when he's been tied up. About they actually shot, he killed the wrong guy.
That's a part of the Darkman also.
Yeah, Darkman. Yeah,
okay.
Liam Neeson, the Sam Raimi movie.
They made a second and third movie, but Liam Neeson's not in the second and third movie.
It's a direct-to-video type.
That was just direct-to-video. I used to really like Mission Impossible too, but to me it's definitely the weakest. Anything else you're reading on the page that you think the audience or listeners should know about?
This is the first movie for which the Metallica ever agreed to write a song.
Right. Which was used for the end credits, you said, right?
Yeah, because that's what, because any movie we saw about, there's any movies or TV series we watch about, it's like only a few of them that they have to play some Metallica music in each small parts, but nothing major. Nothing major. Something angry music. Something used as angry music.
Right, angry music until the end credits. Then, another thing I want to say about these movies, how they're connected, is that. Similar to between License to Kill and GoldenEye, between Mission Impossible 2 and Mission Impossible 3, it's the longest wait between movies. Mission Impossible 2 came out in 2000, and Mission Impossible 3 came out in 2006. So there's a 6-year wait gap between the movies. Other than that,
or License to Kill to GoldenEye.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
The biggest gap about
That's what I'm saying.
Take a break.
Similar. Similar to License to Kill and GoldenEye, the 6-year gap is the longest between the Mission Impossible movies. Similar to License to Kill and GoldenEye. Other than the Mission Impossible 2 and 3 with the 6-year gap, all other Mission Impossible movies come out in less than 6 years from each other.
Yeah. It's like taking a big break about something that people are less interested about the Mission Impossible, but even thanks about that. How about we decide we want to bring back Mission Impossible revive it, but make more or less action, more no over the top.
Yeah, some of it's over the top. I think because Mission Impossible 2 was so over the top, they were trying to dial that down for anyone's after the second one.
Right. Like something about something very anything nothing something straightforward something drama, action drama type.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, the first one was suspenseful because it was Brian De Palma. The first one didn't have guns in it. It had all the suspense, storyline, not really much action, which may not be for everybody. Or maybe there are people that like Mission Impossible 1, and there's people that don't like it. But as far as these first 6 are concerned, a lot of people had a lot of problems with the second one, which is why anything that came after the second one was done way differently than how the second one actually came out. But I do remember going to see this with my dad back in 2000. Yeah, and the whole story plot, again, feels like it's like a foreshadowing to what happened supposedly 20 years later, which you already mentioned earlier what that was called. What else about this movie? Let's see, we talked about the brief little scenes with what's his face, the boss guy in this?
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. We talked about Anthony Hopkins. We talked about Thandie Newton. We talked about Dougray Scott and Vic Rames and Tom Cruise. Did we leave anybody else out to talk about? As far as characters or people in this?
Tom Cruise rode a motorcycle through the fire without the use of flame protection gear or gel.
Of course he did, because he's crazy and he does. Of course he did.
Stunt of a role.
Right. Well, that's true. Well, he does all that crazy stuff with that without protection. Yeah. So as far as that's concerned, yeah, he has his bike scenes in this, but I think he does better with the motorcycling bikes in like the further movies, like 5 and 6. The stuff he does with the motorcycle, I think, is done better.
Yeah, the five. This
Yeah.
five where he
Yeah.
chased after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he does the motorcycle bike stuff better in 5 and 6. Yeah.
All right. I think we got everything wrapped up about it. Even it's originally supposed to be R-rated. Even that movie, the Mission Impossible, is supposed to originally be rated R. But
I saw that as part of the trivia. Yeah, I saw that as part of the trivia that originally there was like an R-rated cut. There was an R-rated cut that wasn't PG-13. And when you see some of them when they go against each other, the boss and him, Dougray Scott and Tom Cruise, when they go against each other towards the end, some of that looks so violent that it almost looks like it should have been R because they were kind of like Matrix-like shots. Matrix-like martial arts where that should have been R. So and then outside of the R rating where it almost was R rated, also that there was like a 3 or 4 hour cut in the movie, but they told John Woo to cut it down to 2 hours and not 3 hours. So yeah, definitely looks R rated with the way they do the cuts, like a Matrix style fighting. That's a good point with R rated. Then I said also more than a 2 hour cut. Having only seen it once, and I would say try to catch some more clips.
I give a C rating. Yeah.
About a C rating? A C?
Or another C rating.
Yeah, like a C rating, or like a 2 out of 5, or a C rating. That's about right. It's probably C rating is this one gets as opposed to the other ones.
Gets the lowest.
Yeah, the lowest they're C as opposed to the other ones.
Hey, how about this? In
Sure.
the future, for another movie franchise, can we talk about like a Mad Max series?
Mad Max?
Mad Max, the Australian.
I actually never really saw the original ones. I mean I saw parts of Fury Road, but I never saw
Never saw the Road Warrior or Beyond Thunderdome.
I never saw the first 3 movies from the 80s. I never or 70s.
Even the one with Mel Gibson in it.
No, yeah, he does the first 3. Yeah, the first 3 with Mel Gibson. I haven't really got into those. I never saw the first 3 originals from '79 and the 2 in the '80s. So I can't really talk about that franchise because I never got into Mad Max. So I'm gonna have to say no on that one. But if you think of any other franchises we could do, say it and I'll tell you whether I've seen them or not. But yeah, I've never honestly really got into Mad Max for Mad Max stuff. No.
All right. I think that's wraps about it. I think I actually need some time for my dinner.
All right, I have dinner also. So me too with dinner. So I want to thank you for coming on to talk about Mission Impossible 2. And if you think of other franchises that we've both seen, maybe we can agree on something somewhere.
All right.
And I guess we'll see you back hopefully sometime for Mission 3.
Also 3, like next Monday also.
Next Monday.
This year you'll be busy with the election going on.
Yeah, the election for me is next Tuesday. I'll be on the election. So yeah,
next Monday we could do the same thing as with Rabbi Kaplan for the Pier Kid. Starts at 3:30.
Yes, I'll come. I'll try that out for a second time. Yes.
Yeah, and we had to listen hard about.
Yes.
You could bring your Siddur. You have the prayer books. It has pages of Pirkei Avos.
I have some pages of that. Yes.
Maybe you could use it also to find out what it means
I'll come for a second time, but if I don't understand too well, I might stop after the second time.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, and we'll talk. I'll see you next Monday then. Thanks a lot.
Next Monday. See you around.
All right. See you around. Thanks. All right. Everybody dance and have a good time. One more time. Everybody dance and have a good time. This is friend and co-host Avi and Millennial Man Motions Entertainment, LLC, signing out till Mission Impossible 3. Dun 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 dun